12 years, a long time in anybody's life. This is the start of a journey I first made in 1980. There was a purpose to that journey then. Born in Jamaica, I'd been a child immigrant to London. As I grew up, I was plagued by an inner unrest, which I thought would be placated by a month in Africa. I considered myself unique, choosing an African journey. I was wrong, of course. I would discover that many New World Africans, searching for something intangible, mysterious, something to make them feel more at ease with themselves, had made the same pilgrimage before me. My planned month-long stay lasted 2 years. I did eventually get to Lagos, my destination again on this journey.
Lagos, Brazil, Lagos, Brazil, 120.
Lagos, 120.
120, Lagos, 120, Lagos, 120.
Where are you heading? I'm heading to Lagos.
Lagos.
How much per day? I want it for 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Let us sit down somewhere because it will take some time now. I'm after a long-distance taxi, which I need to get for a good price.
You pay us 15,000.
15,000?
Yes.
That is too much money.
It's not too much. You think of it, feed allowance, maintenance of the car, petrol, and so on. So
15,000?
Yes.
That's too much now. I'm not a rich man.
Okay, I give you 1,000 per day, if it is okay for you.
1,000 per day?
Yes.
No radio?
No radio inside.
No radio?
Yes.
Yeah. But this vehicle is so old, you know, I'm saying if it was air-conditioned and you had your cassette, I wouldn't argue with you, but you don't have a cassette. I won't be able to hear any music.
I want you to consider one thing. Any vehicle you see with us here, flying highway from here to Lagos, there is no doubt about them. Forget about their appearance as you see it. We have a good vehicle there.
I trust the vehicle, but I would like some music, and you don't have any music, so you'll have to come down small.
That is it I can give.
So where is the driver? 10 years away had dulled my bargaining skills, and anxious to be on my way, I soon gave up. Mr. Samuel, you can get me to Lagos?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. I wish you safe journey.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Odabo.
Okay, Eshegoni.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye. Nigeria is the largest West African nation and the most populous in Black Africa. Lagos, its former capital, is 1,000 kilometers from Kano, a journey from savannah to forest to sea, from Islamic north to predominantly Christian south. But don't expect a safari into the bush. I'm not that sort of traveler. Besides, in Nigeria you can go by expressway. Oh, Samuel.
Yep.
How do I open this window?
You mean your window?
Yes. Thank you. Here. This is your car, huh? It's not in a very good condition, is it? There are so many things missing. I can feel some heat coming from the floor.
From the floor?
Yes.
What is happening is that the silencer have come up to the near So that's why you are feeling hot. And the weather at times.
Well, I know the weather is hot outside, but I don't expect my feet to be roasted inside.
That's the point.
Samuel is from Lagos in the south. He makes this journey backwards and forwards twice a week. I intend to take things at a more leisurely pace. So, Samuel, you know we'll be traveling over several days. Where will you stay in the night?
In the night? As we are not going direct. Eh?
Yes.
So while we are going direct, so I have to sleep in the car, no problem.
So sometimes you sleep in the car?
Yes?
You don't mind?
I don't mind, no problem.
Have you ever been involved in an accident? No. So all the years you've been driving, you never get accidents?
Really?
Oh, wow, so you're a good driver.
Yeah. I thank God for that.
The Nigerian road, this ultimate symbol of progress and modernity, passes through a landscape of older and slower cultures. Ahmadu Bello University in Zaria was my first stop in 1980. I was unexpectedly offered a teaching job and ended up staying for 2 years.
Welcome.
Oh, I'm going to come first.
Well, to see whom, please?
We're going to someone.
Which place?
We've come to the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences
To see whom, sir?
to see Professor Mensah.
The authority have not given us order to allow the taxi coming in.
You mean we can't go onto the campus?
Yes, sir. I am not stopping you going in, but you shouldn't allow taxi in.
Okay, back home here, I will walk.
It's okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now I found that my memory had failed me. I'd forgotten the web of rules surrounding government establishments. They generally don't allow public taxis to enter their grounds. My 2 years at ABU were important years for me. For the first time, I saw black people in positions of authority and power. I was given a responsible position and commanded respect, which in turn taught me how to show respect. In other words, I did an awful lot of growing up here.
You're most welcome to this.
Doctor.
What a surprise! What brings you in this part of the world?
I'm glad to see you've got some gray hairs like me.
Yes, I am.
So I noticed you have a new bookshop.
Yes.
But it's
It's
empty.
largely empty.
It's empty. The most striking change on the campus was a new bookshop. The one I knew was small and disorganized. But like so many structures in Nigeria and Africa generally, the new bookshop was more a symbol of aspiration. Its empty, dusty shelves reminded me of the frustration of being a lecturer here. My own discipline was sociology, and then, like now, new books were scarce for students and lecturers alike. The classrooms, too, were half empty. In my days, the university had a reputation for political radicalism. The academic year was often interrupted for months by student unrest or strikes by lecturers. Little had changed. Today it was closed for the same reasons. Students hung around the classroom with no one to teach them. How are you? Today, the only people who remembered me were my Nigerian colleagues. A decade ago, many New World Africans worked in ABU, and we formed a sort of ethnic group. Most had now moved on. I did, however, find one new arrival, a sociology research student from America, Juliana Jackson. I've always seen that emphasis on Afrocentricity, which I think a new word from the 1980s, I believe.
Yes.
It's been a larger symbolic thing that people talk about going back to Africa, but there's very little talk about the spiritual return. And I'm not sure that many people of African ancestry in the New World could actually cope with Africa, with the reality of Africa.
The first thing I said to my lecture during my first visit to Nigeria in '91 was that, wow, my friends who wear African clothes, who wear dreadlocks, who talk back to Africa, they wouldn't be able to survive a day. A lot of them are from very bourgeois backgrounds, and although they talk Afrocentricity and going back to my roots, I don't know how many can cope with the underdevelopment, the different things that we face here from day to day. I don't know how many would just leave the next day. I guess it's a matter of determination, self-determination, and what contributions you want to make to the struggle of African people all over the world.
I don't know, and I wonder about that, whether we can make such a claim, you know, 500 years removed from the African continent. Can we ever really come back?
I think people are beginning to be inspired to come. People like me who talk to their families about it and have real goals. As a matter of fact, I have 2 young sons, 8 and 3, and I plan to bring them to visit Africa, different countries, because I think that they need to see where we come from, or where it all began for Africans. I mean, I'm not saying that I don't love my country or feel certain patronage for my country, but I think that African Americans have been dealt a raw deal there. And in order to build up their strength, to keep going, they need to come here to find some sense of self-worth so that they can go back and feel proud of themselves, you know, as a people.
I've known that Africa too. Africa is a place to search for identity. But I'm also fascinated by Africa as a cultural and political reality in itself. 70 kilometers from Zaria is Kaduna, once a colonial capital of northern Nigeria.
You are going in. In fact, taxis aren't allowed to go inside the Lugard hall.
You mean we can't go in?
Huh?
We can't go inside?
Yes, you can better park your taxi before you sit.
And I have to walk.
You say?
I have to walk.
You have to walk there?
Yeah.
Yes.
I couldn't get into the university, I can't get in here. We're going to have to do something about it. Have you? Lugard Hall, with its curious combination of northern Nigerian Islamic and Western architecture, was once the seat of British colonial rule. The British ruled Nigeria for 60 years. This building is named after the first governor of northern Nigeria, Lord Lugard. Lugard's own wife coined the name Nigeria, a nation created out of disparate peoples, the Hausas, the Yorubas, the Igbos, and many more. It was Lugard who pioneered the administration of power through indigenous political institutions, the local kings and emirs. Coming from Britain, he recognized the importance of traditional authority. In this council chamber, colonizers and colonized once sat side by side. It has now fallen into disrepair. Its woodwork is infested with the termites of the savannah and crumbles at the slightest touch. Perhaps this neglect reflects the ambivalence of the Nigerians to the political system inherited from the British. The British model was swiftly abandoned after independence, but the nation-state has survived. The present military rulers are now preparing Nigeria again for civil rule. So my journey is being made in a country which is going through uncertain times.
Oh, Samuel, let's try and turn off this road.
Starved of music in Samuel's colorful taxi, I seized the opportunity to hear some. The old man was a professional praise singer who earned his living from massaging people's egos. He probably saw a chance to earn a few naira from a gullible traveler. The gathering turned out to be a political rally organized by a newly elected senatorial candidate for the Social Democratic Party.
This is Mr. Hassan, the SDP senatorial candidate, and this is Mr. Ferdinand Dennis.
Mr. Dennis, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
The candidate was on a whistle-stop tour of his constituency, and I invited myself along, hoping to learn a little more about this latest experiment in democracy. Nigeria's present military rulers, inspired by the American model, have created a new political system. By decree, it only allows for two parties, one a little right of center, the National Republican Convention, and the other a little left of center, the Social Democratic Party.
The tendency has usually been in Nigeria that people form political parties or political groupings according by their, affiliations, natural affiliation, tribal affiliation, geographical affiliation, cultural affiliation, and so on, so on, right? But with the new system, the, military boys wanted to introduce a kind of checking factor which will antagonize, the groupings, break up the former formations and amalgamate them into two straight groups, political, ideologically affiliated groupings.
So it sounds rather like two-party democracy by decree.
Yes, it is, but of course we now have people joining voluntarily. I want to be in this party because this is the party I feel like I want to belong to. Okay? So people have now come to appreciate the two parties. Now they pick a party they want to go along with. And they tell their people, this is the way we should go. You stop here now. You have stopped with dropped. SDP! SDP!
Mr. Hassan was visiting local chiefs to thank them for their support in the primary elections. Without the backing of these figures of traditional political authority, modern political aspirants are unlikely to secure office.
Amma ku sani cewa kasan nan namu ne. Kuma sha'anin addini kamar wadda mutum yana so ya ci tuwo ne, wani yana so ya ci tuwon shinkafa, wani yana so ya ci sakwara.
Sosai.
A ga muna zaman lafiya Abuja, kada wani ya kawo mana wani sha'ani na game da addini wadda zai bata mu. Ka ji abin da na faɗa maka?
Na ji.
Sha'anin addini mu mantar da shi Abuja nan gabaki daya idan muna so mu zauna lafiya.
Insha Allah.
In yi ko mutu bane. In Allah ya kawo hanyoyin ci abinci da yawa. In baka sama wannan baka sama wannan.
Sosai.
To some extent, I should imagine you're pretty dependent on those traditional chiefs for the mobilization of people to legitimize your own political campaign.
We, the politicians, the younger politicians, have accepted, the traditional fathers as political fathers unto us. So we do not, you can't have a conflict with your father, in as much as you feel that he's your benefactor, right? You are looking onto him as one that you will get inspiration from. From him, you would get the support. It's from him, if you refuse to yield onto him, then he can refuse or talk bad of you to his people. And when that happens, of course, you lose favor.
Abuja, Nigeria's new federal capital. Back in 1980, there were no buildings here. Even now, hardly anyone seems to live here. But at least there doesn't appear to be a shortage of hotels.
Come in. We don't allow taxis in here. We don't allow taxis in. No.
It's okay, I will walk.
This was just too much. I'm afraid poor old Samuel's going to have to go. It's time for a new car and a new driver. Nigeria's new capital city is located in what the nation's mathematicians calculate is the exact center of the country. It was conceived after the Biafran War and symbolizes Nigeria's determination to overcome the ethnic, religious, and regional rivalries which have plagued it since independence. The city is just that, though, another symbol of aspiration. It's a long way from completion. When the soldiers conceived it in the 70s, Nigeria was flushed with funds from its oil export earnings. That revenue has since plummeted, so Abuja grows more slowly than planned.
Humphrey, tell me something about the car business.
Okay, the car belongs to my immediate senior brother.
Are you enjoying it?
For the few time, I can say I'm enjoying it. But what I have been expecting never arrives.
What were you expecting?
I'm expecting to get money and know people from this business.
Oh, okay. Well, you're working in the right place, being in Abuja. Because there's a lot of money there. At least that's the impression I get. People who has got the money, they will say there's money, but I myself, I never see it. So some people are making it and some people aren't.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I know many of us are in that position. You're not the only one.
So, let's assume that as I'm working with you people now, if you people make me rich, yes, I will say there's money in Abuja.
The Murtala Mohammed Bridge, which spans the great river Niger, marks the end of the north. On my previous journeys south, I frequently stopped here and once spent a night in the company of long-distance lorry drivers and other travelers.
1,000?
Yes.
That's the best you can do?
Yes.
Okay. We'll go.
Go.
Though I'd often stopped here, I'd never had a chance to ride down the River Niger, something I'd always promised myself. Like the Nile and the Zambezi, the River Niger is one of the great symbols of Africa. Being on it made me aware of the fascination the African continent holds for me. My preoccupation with Africa is neither unique to me nor new. As long ago as the 1920s, the African-American poet Countee Cullen expressed his thought in a poem called Heritage. What is Africa to me? Copper sun or scarlet sea, jungle star or jungle track, strong bronze men or regal black, women from whose loins I sprang when the birds of Eden sang. 3 centuries removed from the scenes his fathers loved, spicy grove, cinnamon tree. What is Africa to me? Bring bananas. Where's bananas? How much? 5 naira for this bunch. How much is that bunch? 5 naira. Okay, I'll give you 3 naira for it. Bring the cola nut. Cola nut. You want? Do you want one? Do you want one? Yeah. This one. How do you tell whether they're good or bad? How can you tell a good cola?
This one.
These two are good. Okay, so how much are these? 2 naira. 2 for 1, 2 naira, or for 2?
Buy 250.
250.
1 naira.
1 naira.
No, buy this one.
1 naira.
Buy 2 naira. Buy 250. Buy
2 naira.
250. 250.
250.
3 naira. No tap on 2 naira.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Soon after the River Niger, savanna gradually gives way to woodland, which soon becomes rainforest. We are now heading west into the land of the Yorubas. They were one of the reasons I often journeyed south when I lived here. There are people with whom I have long felt a special affinity. Ife is an ancient Yoruba city, the spiritual center of the Yorubas. So I considered myself privileged to have secured an audience with the Uni of Ife, the king of all Yorubas. I finally got my audience after 2 hours of waiting, with the Uni making a spectacular entrance. Not for the first time, I was struck by the power of music and dance as vital expressions of African culture. Even the Uni, the king of all the Yorubas, had to obey the rhythm of the drummers. In Yoruba culture, the audience shows its appreciation of performers by giving them money, which is known as spraying. I was guided through my audience with the Uni by the king's head of protocol. The Uni considered me one of his children from the diaspora, so I had to show respect in traditional style.
Kneel down where? On the pad or on the pad?
But my Westernism rendered me incapable of prostrating myself with style or dignity. So I did what amounted to a press-up before the king of the Yorubas. The Uni regards himself as king not only of the Yorubas in Yoruba land, but Yorubas worldwide, and frequently travels to see his scattered people.
Well, you know that you're from Jamaica, yes, sir?
What Jamaica?
Yes, Prime Minister. Yes, your Prime Minister happens to be my friend, and I was there as well.
Ambassador won't be so close,
the ambassador of Jamaica is very close to me, and I'm likely to go there anytime from now.
And may I ask, Your Highness, did you see any similarities between the culture of the people in Jamaica and those of the Yoruba people?
Not only culture, as our land is here, it is there as well.
What does it keep tradition?
And they still keep the Yoruba tradition intact.
And culture.
And culture. Yoruba culture and tradition. And when I get there, they all recall that their father has come.
A position such as yours, which is rooted in tradition, do you ever feel that it is threatened by the modern?
There's no contradiction between the modern age. He deals with the wind. He deals with the wind. And he controls the wind. Okay?
Travel, our movement of the star, the moon, and the sun.
And when I travel, I look at the movement of the sun, the moon, and the star, and that indicates where to go. So the power, the ancient power, is still there intact.
That ancient power survives throughout Yoruba land. Near Ife, in Oshogbo, traditional deities are still worshipped. The imagery of Yoruba religion has inspired a flourishing artistic movement in the sacred groves of Oshogbo. Visitors to the shrine of Oshun, goddess of the river, are required to seek her blessing.
Oli, you eat that one, the two together. You are receiving the power of Oshun as you are eating that one now. Together.
Kọ̀jẹ́ mọ̀ gbá inú rẹ̀ ló dùn sí o. Ìyá ọ̀jẹ̀ ẹ̀kọ́ bì ọmọ lọ́wọ́. Ẹ wá bá wa gbé ẹ̀yìn ara ọ̀run o.
Compelled to part with money yet again seemed to me to undermine the spirituality of the experience. Perhaps so, this was just my Western attitude. The water of the river Oshun is believed to have curative properties when applied by a priestess and taken with prayer. I prayed for a safe journey and for my children a happiness that would not involve a perpetual search for something which I sometimes fear is irrevocably lost. Lagos at long last. Abuja might be the new capital, but Lagos will long remain the big city, the metropolis which draws young men and women from Nigeria and West Africa. In all my travels, only New York arouses in me the same thrill of arrival. My first port of call was a tailor. I needed a special outfit for a special occasion.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Yes, it's very grand. Mm. Gosh, so much cloth.
Get it now.
Got it.
Just like a king now.
Oh, bad.
Not bad. And it fits you well.
But it's very heavy.
Yes, that is how they meet it.
That's how it is.
There's one lighter than this one.
Yes,
For example, this one is lighter.
Yes, this one is much lighter, isn't it? It's wonderful. It's wonderful. So what is this one called? Is it the same thing?
It's the same thing, and it's the same measurement.
Uh-huh. So I think maybe I'll try this one on,
Okay,
because it's a little lighter. Okay. Despite appearances, this was not a wedding, but a funeral party for a rich and prominent chief. He had lived a long and fulfilling life, hence his celebration to assist his passage to the other world. I was a guest of the Nigerian West Indian Association, which consisted largely of women from various Caribbean islands married to Nigerians. They were not quite a long way from home.
No, it's similar in a way because, okay, we have the temperature, it's hot here, and we have the food. It's the same food we have here as we have at home, even though it's cooked different. And then certain things, the tradition we find here, you know, like this year now is a funeral. Even though I hear now this is what they're doing in Jamaica. When I was there, they wouldn't do this sort of thing for a funeral. They do it more for a wedding. But since this man is a very old man, it's a celebration. But I hear now in Jamaica we're doing the same thing, you know. And we take over the streets like in Jamaica they're doing that too. And in many ways the people are just the same. They're just as noisy. You know, and they're just as, not quite what I call volatile, you know, emotional, you know. And they love music. There's some similarity in the music. And now in this society you find reggae music is the music, so you know it's very similar.
The people, they are similar to back home. They are very warm, they are friendly, they are very hospitable, and they welcome foreigners, especially West Indians. They have that affection for us.
So where are you most comfortable, here or in Jamaica?
Definitely in Jamaica. Home is home. There's no place like home.
Badagry, along the coast from Lagos, may have been the last site of home for the ancestors of some of those women. Perhaps my own ancestors last saw Africa here as well. Centuries ago, this was a major slave import. This ancient cotton tree bears witness to that terrible past. Slaves used to be chained to it. A pageant staged by the reparation movement. This is a fast-growing campaign determined to secure compensation from the West for the exploitation and loss of lives involved in the slave trade. Its supporters believe that Africa is still suffering from that shameful and violent phase in its history. Looking at the faces of the children, their sad bewilderment, I wondered whether they could fathom the depth of cruelty and suffering inflicted on this spot, whether the memory of slavery haunts them the way it sometimes haunts the children of Africa in the West. While this pageant was being staged, one of the prime movers behind the campaign was holding a press conference in a nearby slave museum.
Have been here since 16th century. And these are the things that they are using for the slaves during the olden days. And they use this one for the necks. They'll padlock it here, another person will put his own. That's how they put it on the line. It's 12 on each line. And they started whipping them with horsewhip, one by one. They continue going one by one.
Chief Abiola is a Yoruba, a press magnate, and a philanthropist. Accompanying him was Dudley Thompson, the Jamaican High Commissioner to Nigeria, and a New World organizer of the reparation movement.
It is them tighten up.
Then they put padlock here. So padlock it, they'll padlock it here. Yes, then they'll put another one on another fellow.
Please remove it.
They use this one for the mouth. They draw it with, like this, they pin it with hot iron, they put padlock on it. So this one will stop them out of eating the sugar cane. Sometimes...
The reparation movement is an initiative both of Africans in Africa and New World Africans. But the Nigerian involvement is crucial. Its size and population have long given it an automatic lead status in Africa, which it now appears to be taken seriously.
This campaign for reparations has been going on for quite some time. And in fact, it's becoming a movement already.
It's not become a movement. It has become a movement. Let those becoming.
Yes. So how would you assess the response so far?
All African people everywhere are now fully sensitized to the issue of reparation. First of all, the problem of slavery has always been a problem that every African has been aware of. They are taught about it from birth. The only way it can be explained for a large number of Africans to be in America is because of slavery.
Which of the Western countries will pay this reparation? Who does one charge for slavery?
Good. You see, this is not a court of public opinion. This is an interview, okay? When the time comes, see, those who did it are very clear. The ships that left Africa flew flags of their various countries, where human beings were packed like sardines in the holes. But see, we're not even going to accuse anybody. People are saying, and legitimately, why is Africa so backward? We are saying, it is like asking, why can't you run when your leg has been broken? If my leg has been broken, I will run. But mend the legs. Reparation in Oxford English Dictionary means from the Latin word reparare, to make whole again. You've been damaged economically, psychologically.
Slavery, of course, was not just a physical ordeal. There was a greater tragedy. The depth of that tragedy becomes clear to me, a New World African, whenever I visit the continent. In the dank, dark shipholds of the Middle Passage across the Atlantic Ocean, in the heat of the sugar and cotton plantations of the Americas, the enslaved Africans lost their myths, their gods, their rituals of celebration, their languages, their names. A search for those things lost, to cease feeling like orphans of history. That's why some of us come back to Africa again and again. But sometimes I do fear that those losses are irretrievable.
Next Monday night at 9, the first in a new series looking at the work of the RSPCA's Special Operations Unit, Animal Squad Undercover.